Hi, boys and girls. Today we're going to talk more about envisioning. Yesterday we talked about envisioning or visualizing. There are two different words for the same thing. And that means making a mind movie or making pictures in your head as you read. This is something we've been doing since we've been listening to stories as little kids. And now, as stronger third grade readers, we're adding to it and growing by adding extra detail and using our senses to visualize while we read. Today, we're going to do another activity where we are practicing visualizing and recording what we practice or what we visualize. So, I'm going to read a short passage to you, and then I'm going to show you using this passage how I would record some of my visualizing, and then you're going to try it as well. So, this is just a little paragraph passage. Going camping was my favorite family adventure. Something exciting always happened when we ventured out into the great unknown. We're here, Dad told us, full of excitement. We all started unloading our car. I helped by setting up the tent. Don't move, I heard my mom mumble. Slowly, I turned around and saw my mom frozen with fear. She was pointing towards the woods behind me. Too afraid to look, I decided to try to get to the safety of the car. Okay, so think about what you were visualizing while you read this. For me, I have actually been camping before, and even if I hadn't been camping, I still know that that happens outside, they're in the woods, so I'm thinking about that visualizing when they got there, maybe just outside and feeling the cool air and hearing the rustling of the trees and all the sounds of my family talking as we unload the car and kind of grunting, oh, as we lift up the different things and carry them around. I know it was a lot of loading and unloading when we went camping. I'm also really visualizing the second part, the ending part of this little story when mom mumbles, don't move. Okay, I putting myself in that character's shoes really and visualizing how feeling heart pounding, breathing, maybe hearing sound because they're scared. Lots of visualizing here. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to record that visualizing using a slide. So this is the slide that you're going to have. Now, when you first click on it, it's going to be this size, and it's very hard to read and type on something this tiny. So a good strategy is always to go to this zoom, the little magnifying glass with a plus sign. And when you hit the down arrow, I like to hit 100%. Okay, and 100% makes it nice and big. It zooms in, and it's much easier to read. Okay, now you're going to do this with whatever you're currently reading. So if you're whatever book you're reading during independent reading, you can use today. It does not have to be a passage. If what you're reading, you don't feel like there are great places for you to visualize, then you can always go back to yesterday in the Google Classroom and go to Monday and the reading lesson, the visualizing. There were some passages there. You only used one of them yesterday. You can pick a different one and use that today if you would like, if you don't feel like what you read was a great example of visualizing. So now here is my organizer, and it says I visualized. So depending on how good of a typer you are, how you feel about typing, you might type in complete sentences or you might just type words of what you visualized. Either one is fine. So I'm going to think about towards the end of the passage what I visualized. So I visualized pounding heart, heavy breathing, definitely seeing mom seeing some kind of large animal in the background. I'm not sure. A moose maybe, or a bear. I don't know. What are you guys visualizing? The leaves crunching under the feet of the large animal. So this is what I'm visualizing. So I didn't even write in complete sentences. I just sort of listed with commas some of the things I was visualizing. Now, the author didn't say that there was pounding heart or heavy breathing. I added that detail based on when the author said mom was frozen with fear and the girl was too afraid to look. So I visualized pounding heart and heavy breathing, not because the author said those things, but because the author said mom was frozen in fear, right? That's what the author wrote that made me visualize that. And if you want, you can put quotation marks around the part that the author said, but you don't have to. I'm going to do another one. Another thing that the author wrote that made me visualize this was too afraid to look. So this part, you're typing in the exact words that made you visualize what you visualize. So I visualized this pounding heart, this heavy breathing, this large animal, the leaves crunching because mom was frozen in fear. She was too afraid to look. The animal was because she was pointing towards the woods. So I can include that as well. Okay, whatever the author used. And what was the author describing when she was saying frozen with fear and too afraid to look, pointing to the woods? Was that a character that was doing that? The setting that was doing that? An event, an object? So clearly that's a character who's frozen in fear, that's too afraid to look, that's pointing towards the woods. So there's these little circles here, and you can drag one to circle what you want to circle. Okay, so I'm describing a character. So I visualized, excuse me, the pounding heart, the heavy breathing, the large animal, the leaves crunching, because the author wrote, mom was frozen in fear. She was too afraid to look, pointing towards the woods to describe the character. And this helped me to understand, well, what do I understand now? Now I understand how the characters feel. And that's all we're looking for this organizer. So this is what you're going to do today. Again, you're going to put into words what you visualized, what the author wrote to help you to visualize that. Tell us whether that's you're visualizing the character, the setting, the event, the object, and how that visualization helped you to understand, okay? That last part is kind of a bonus part. If you can figure it out and understand it, great. If that's still tricky for you to understand, it's okay for you to say that this part is a little hard for me. But the top part, I think you should all feel really super confident with completing. There's 2, so make sure you find 2 places you visualized to complete the organizer. Okay, good luck, and we can't wait to read your responses. Bye.